You're watching Oilersnation Radio.
Welcome into Oilersnation Radio. No BM today. It's Tyler, Liam, Rick, and Dan, but we still got an hour of hockey talk locked and loaded here. Oh, do we have a Dan's game today?
We do now.
We don't have to have one.
I'll think of it while we go.
If you come up with one, good. If not, we'll just keep cruising along.
Sounds good.
But welcome into the podcast. We are back from Jasper, so we're back to a somewhat normal crew here. And as always, we're going to kick off the pod with a little delicious debate for our friends at Odd Company Brewing, a crisp, clean lager crafted not just for game day, but for every day. That is the all-new Nation Beer Everyday Lager. Find it at one of their 2 locations in Edmonton, downtown, or Ritchie, or hit up liquorconnect.com and punch in Nation Beer. Find the liquor store nearest you. Boys, one of the big topics of conversation over the last week was how Jeff Skinner is scoring goals, but still not finding a spot in the lineup. So your delicious debate is this. Do you agree with how Kris Knoblauch is handling Jeff Skinner? Is there anyone who's feeling passionate enough to go first?
Did we win?
Yes.
Then yep, I'm all good with it. Look, we have a team right now where it's every guy that has to come out, there's a valid excuse or a valid reason to keep him in, right? There's 3 to 4 guys that are both in the same area with some positives, some negatives, whatever it is, but they almost all deserve to be in the lineup. This is what a Stanley Cup caliber team is. You have a lot of guys who deserve in the lineup, and you have to find a spot for them. If we keep winning, I'm not going to sit here and second against the coach.
There is no but. You won.
But he scored a goal.
Did they win?
But
Did they win?
Yes, but he
That's all that matters.
to the win with a goal in a 3-2 game.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
They healthy scratched him. I understand it because of that's what the lineup was before the Oilers lost Connor McDavid for 3 games. I thought it was a bit harsh.
It is harsh, yes. But would you rather be given 25 minutes of ice time and play for a team like Buffalo? Or would you rather go be in and out of the lineup and have yourself much closer? Like, first of all, he's going to most likely play his first playoff game ever of his career. Yeah. And I don't want to jinx it, but we all know what can happen at the end of June 24th it's weird but they keep winning. And that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is good. I just think there could have been a different couple of moves before the game last night.
Well, I'm not an NHL head coach, but it just strikes me as, for Knoblauch, a guy that doesn't want to have this conversation with 8 other dudes on the team. So he's just had this conversation with Skinner, and Skinner knows where he's at right now. And so he's the guy that he scratches.
It's the path of least resistance. You just keep going to the same guy and saying, you're not playing.
Once you do it obviously, it's easier to do it second.
Obviously, the name that people want out of there will be Janmark, but he does a lot of things that aren't goal scoring that Skinner's not going to do, and he does it better.
But for me, it's the fact that Skinner just keeps getting scratched that bugs me. And I hear what you're saying, Rick, that good hockey teams have good players sitting for them, and that's a good thing. But when it's always the same one good player or same 2 good players, that becomes a problem for me.
But it's starting to say something. When he was in the lineup, he was in the top 6, correct?
Skinner?
Yes.
No, he's been playing on the fourth line.
Where did he play last game?
Because of McDavid's suspension, he was up at the top.
He was playing on the 4th line and playing power play.
He was penciled into top minutes to the start.
He pushed back the day after he got a goal.
No. That's not what happened. He played 9 minutes the other day against 5-5, I should say.
His most common line mates for that game were he played 339 on a line with Henrique and Hyman, and then he played with Corey Perry.
And that was which game?
That was
Buffalo.
When he scored.
Yeah.
I find it very interesting. So against Buffalo, he scores a goal.
Yeah.
Against Vancouver, he had 3 good chances where he was create offense. You put him on the power play. Yep. Power play clicks. Who did they play before that? Washington?
Power play clicks with anybody.
That's not true at all. It was terrible against Washington with Robinson.
Was it terrible, or they just ineffective for a game? I think we use the word terrible. You can't look at that power play, those 5 guys, and say they're terrible.
Yes, I can, because Robinson was on it.
That is ridiculous.
Are you
They were
me?
ineffective, yes, but to sit there and call that power play line terrible, that is an adjective being used way too much here.
So against Washington,
they had 6 minutes of power play time. They got 3 shots on net.
You think it's unfair
completely ineffective and not very good that game, but to use the word terrible.
They were terrible that game.
In
That's
comparison,
crazy, man. You got. I won't use adjectives like that when you're talking about those types
But you're
of
saying they
players.
were ineffective.
Yeah.
Rick, they were.
So now we're just arguing about whether or not we like the word terrible or not.
Okay,
100%.
so what was?
That's what I brought up, though.
So
I thought I wouldn't use the word terrible.
Tell me the difference between.
And you got to give the credit to the PK sometimes, too.
No, screw that. What was the main difference between Vancouver and Washington on the power play? It was one. Jeff Skinner was on it, and Arvidsson wasn't. That is what I was trying to say. Is he played 3 games without McDavid and found a way to be impactful. He drew the penalty at the end of the Washington game. He was on the power play and had really good chances. He got the assist on Draisaitl's goal, second one of the game. And then against Buffalo, he scores and then he gets scratched. I don't even think it should necessarily have been Janmark.
I don't either.
Scratched.
I think Connor Brown should have taken a seat.
Connor Brown.
I think after last night, I'll be good to give him one off.
Sorry?
I think after last night's game, I'm okay giving Brown a night off. But they're going to start doing that going forward anyways in terms of keeping guys fresh and keeping guys fresh by playing and keeping guys fresh by resting.
I just don't know what. You're right. Like they're winning games and it's not like as big of a
It is a great problem to have because for years we were sitting here being like, holy shit, Will Acton's playing tonight. And now we get to argue about how good the players are that we're sitting. Like it's a good problem to have. And I will also add this whole conversation and the debate about Skinner and the talk about Janmark and everything that goes into it. It is a product of us as a fan base being bored.
Mm-hmm. And successful.
Like bored and successful is
right.
now let's nitpick. So is Matthias Janmark's lack of production the end of the world? No, because he's a good penalty killer.
But he's on pace for almost the same amount of points as he normally gets.
Not exactly a compliment, but
well, that's who he is.
I guess. Yeah, sure.
That's who the player is. But not everybody's going to produce points for you.
Yeah.
Some guys have to go out there and do the dirty work, the blue collar stuff. And I think he's very good at that.
But that's where Jeff Skinner, to me, excels. Very good at that. He's supposed to be the guy that goes out and gets you points.
And he's done his job. So that's the only part where I have a little bit of an issue with it is like Jeff Skinner goes out there and does kind of what Jeff Skinner is. And this team should have known what he was when they brought him in.
Yes.
He produces offense. He is not going to be a guy who goes and lays a big hit, although I applaud him for at least putting in the effort to do so sometimes. He's not going to be a guy who plays great defensively, but he will score you goals. You brought him in to score you goals. And when he doesn't do the defensive side of the game well, which is not his job, it's like, well, that's not as like sit him.
See, and I think with this team, with the way it's set up, when you brought him in, he had to have known that he had to do more than just produce goals because you have 6 guys ahead of him that he's never going to get a past. So when he comes here, he can't, and there's no chance they sat there at the table and said, "Hey, listen, we need you to come in here and score goals." We didn't need him to score goals. We would like some secondary scoring, but we're looking at filling gaps in the roster, and goal scoring and top end production is certainly not one of them.
I think coming into the year, he was kind of labeled as the Kane replacement for the regular season. I think they were expecting him to play. If you signed Jeff Skinner thinking you were getting a guy who's going to come hustle hard and play good bottom 6 minutes for you, then I seriously question
middle 6, I think. So like third line as well.
Do we not look at the fact that like where Arvidsson is in the lineup right now and where Skinner is kind of where they should have been flipped at the start of the year?
I agree.
Probably.
That's and Liam, I heard you talking it on Oilers Nation every day today where like there's games where Arvidsson looks like he doesn't know what he's doing.
You heard me through the floor.
His defensive metrics though are good.
They are, and then that's where a coach and I understand again where the coach trusts a player that plays defensively for him to win those hockey games more than not. But this is where I come back to like he gave you the offense. He gave you the offense that whether you say however you want to say it about the Washington Capitals thing, he gave you the offense that Arvidsson didn't give you on the power play. It's just a question mark for me.
Who are you more confident
Jeff Skinner
playing in your own end?
But I think
that's what the coaching.
But there's 4 other guys on the ice that I have to be more confident in than Jeff Skinner.
And everyone has their own job to do, though.
And the wingers aren't it for me.
They have their own job in the zone.
Yep, but not.
Which of those 2 players would you rather have playing in his own zone? Which of those players would you be more willing to be confident in making sure his check does not get to the net and get a goal scoring chance? And I think that's Victor Arvidsson.
And that I understand from a coaching perspective.
And that's what the Oilers have to be worried about right now. They have all the offense in the world. They need to be focused on defense a little bit more. And I think they have this year, as they are one of the best defensive teams in the league. And I think that's because they keep playing those types of players.
I think Arvidsson does a lot of weird shit too. Like his line changes are bad. He shoots from everywhere,
which is a good and a bad thing at times.
I think it's actually a bad thing with him because he shoots from terrible spots.
I think this team
on like the boards and stuff like that, and like they do lack that, but also an attentive slap shot from the point whilst you're falling is not a good shot.
Yeah, I do think the one where I'll give him credit and disagree a little bit. He usually only does it if there's traffic in front. Like he's not throwing it in at a wide open goalie. So I kind of like the chaos aspect of it. I do agree. Like that's the only part that's annoying to me is like Jeff Skinner does what he does best, puts up points, and then he gets punished for not being a totally well-rounded player. Meanwhile, Connor Brown hasn't scored a goal in 7 weeks. Okay,
but he's trustworthy in his own end.
But he's trustworthy in his own end.
And you need that, especially in the playoffs.
So in the last 5 weeks, Arvidsson has been on the ice for 5 games. Arvidsson has been on the ice for 3 goals against at 5-on-5. Jeff Skinner has been on the ice for 1. They have each been on the ice for 2 goals for. Jeff Skinner has scored one of those goals.
Time on ice.
Jeff Skinner is obviously playing a little bit less. But we're talking about guys who are defensively responsible in their own end, and stats are backing it up. That
no, those are not. Those are just not.
Those are just.
There's no context behind those stats. How long were the guys on the ice for? There's these. So many of those stats don't. I find so many holes in some of these stats because they do not take into account for a million different things that can happen in a hockey game.
Okay, well, here's some other stats for you.
But it doesn't tell you like was the team trapped in their own zone? Did you have your own line out there? Was your there's just so many intricacies in the game of hockey that this works in baseball because it always starts off at the pitcher's mound and everything is starts and finishes in the same spot. Hockey is so much different that some of these things you need context behind them and you can't create stats to tell you all that context.
I agree. They don't always paint the best picture. But when there's trends, then that does give you an indication of what it is. No? If you're like for the
definitely more than 50-50.
I just find it interesting. The last time Jeff Skinner was in a game and outshot at 5-on-5 was against Anaheim, and he was outshot 3-1.
I just think he's taking a lot of lumps that he maybe doesn't deserve. And I think they have a $3.5 million player here who they're not putting in a good enough spot to succeed. And other players are getting elevated, even though there's deficiencies in their games as well. Like again, Janmark getting moved into the top 6. Like I should never see a top 6 minute. Like he shouldn't. And I think a guy like Jeff Skinner,
he's serviceable for a game or two, but kind of like a Joe Flacco at quarterback. You don't want him there for a long time, but for a couple of games, he can do the job.
Flacco won a Super Bowl.
100%. But you know what I'm saying? Like if you saw Joe Flacco come in this year, have 2 good games, and then game 3 kind of caught up with him. That's kind of what I've said Janmark is the whole time. But he's very good at what he does out there. And for what he's paid, it's fantastic.
Oh, I would heavily push back on for what he's paid. He's fantastic. For what he's paid, he's getting a bit too much. He's a replacement level guy who does niche things well.
But he can't be that much of a. You're not replacing him with anybody. He's a replacement level player. That means you can bring some. But who are you bringing in over top of him? Right? Is that what it means? Like a replacement level player?
Replacement level player just means you can
swap in and out and really not see a difference.
You could find another guy.
I don't think that's true.
You could find another Matthias Janmark. He doesn't kill.
No,
he wouldn't kill penalties as well. But like Connor Brown and Matthias Janmark are the same player to me. And one of them is $1 million guy. The other one is getting 1.6 and he got term. Like that's my only beef with it. I like Janmark. You will win a Stanley Cup with Matthias Janmark in your lineup. No doubt.
Yeah.
I just think, again, people avoid the deficiencies in his game because it's like, well, he's a good penalty killer. He can find good, because they found Kasperi Kapanen on waivers, good penalty killer. They found Vasily Podkolzin, $1 million a year, good penalty killer. Like you find those guys, right?
You don't just find them anywhere. We've been trying to find these guys for the last 4 or 5 years and not hit on them. You can start with AA and what's his face out in Detroit, and then try to find guys. We went through, when was the lottery ticket thing? We find a guy. Those guys didn't last. That you can't.
Gaetan Haas worked.
You just love that slap shot.
My God, anybody?
Yeah, my God didn't work.
I know there's the saying that you can just find these guys, but you can't just find them. That's why he's still in the league for 600 games at what he does. You know who he is offensively.
Yeah.
He's there for a reason because you can't just find them that easily.
So do you think a guy like that is just a He's a fourth line player.
Third, fourth line player for sure.
Yeah. And I think Jeff Skinner has the upside to actually make an impact in the top six. They just aren't giving him the opportunities. And the reason I want them to give Skinner those opportunities over a Brown or a Janmark is because I think there is something there. There is an offensive player there, a guy who has scored 30 goals at the NHL level, and you signed him for $3.5 million not to be a fourth liner and not to be your 13th forward. I just don't think they're putting him in a spot to succeed, or at least they're not willing to. And that's the part that's frustrating to me. I think there is a better player here. And if you really believe there's no chance he can help you win, trade him and convince him. And maybe that's what they're trying to do. Maybe that's their long game here is like, let's healthy scratch the fuck out of this guy. And he's going to be so sick of it by March 1st that he's going to be out the door and waiving that no movement clause by March 7th. That might be their play. And if it is, then whatever. Credit to him for sticking to something right now. But like a guy with 30 goal upside that you committed $3.5 million to and let Dylan Holloway walk out the door for, and you aren't giving him an opportunity to show his skills and be a fit and gel with one of Connor or Leon, maybe it won't work. Give him 3 games with Leon or give him 3 games with Connor, the way you did for Arvidsson, the way you did for Vasily Podkolzin.
I did think he should have got the 3 when Connor was out. I thought going into it
and that's
that he'd get the 3.
So like, that's my whole beef here is like, again, you elevate Janmark. Okay, you know it's only going to work for 2 games and then you're going to be trying to jamble around or Connor's back, whatever. Like that is such a limited upside move. We know what Janmark is. Good bottom sixer, good penalty killer, won't score you goals. Right now, we also know what Jeff Skinner is, but we're trying to force him to be something he's not. And it's just frustrating to me.
But I don't think you can be what he is in the roles he's going to get. Unless you're going to put him where Arvidsson is, and then you needed him or Podkolzin to play their off wing.
No, I put Jeff Skinner where Podkolzin is.
So you're going to move Podkolzin back.
Absolutely.
Now, who's going to go? Because you already said that Skinner's not going to go get the puck.
Arvidsson should be going to get pucks. That's what
you need. At least 2 guys down there. Leon's not going to get it.
Skinner can.
You need 2 guys to get the puck for Leon.
Skinner actually does get in on the forecheck.
He does okay, yeah, but he's not going to be out there and doing what Podkolzin or Arvidsson does.
Draisaitl had great runs with Nuge and Yamamoto. Nuge isn't a puck retriever.
Yeah, but that also did it. It lasted for a while, a short while. It was what it was, and it never came back again. I think we understand that you need, when it comes to Leon, you need guys who are willing to go in the corners for him. And I don't think that's Skinner's game.
But what's the harm in trying Skinner for
losses?
There's no way that Jeff Skinner is going to cause us to lose any more than Janmark being up there or Podkolzin.
No, 100% watching your guy in your own zone. We gave up the goal when Bush goes into the corner with somebody else and Skinner doesn't pick up his man coming back. That's the thing that you don't get out of the Janmark. That ended up in the back of our net.
It's frustrating to me to have you saying like, we need to see what we've got. This is the time to find out what we've got for
the wins and losses.
Lineups.
They matter right now, but like,
for sure, they matter.
Are
we talking like second place in our division? We'll be second or third or playing the first wild card spot. There's a big difference there.
If they went out and they lost those 3 games and it was all Jeff Skinner's fault, then none of us are talking about this anymore. Yeah. And also, everybody knows where Jeff Skinner is. I don't even think you know where Jeff Skinner is at in this team right now and what he can fit in. That's the frustrating part. And I'm
winning,
but they lost back-to-back games to Vancouver and Washington. Gave Jeff Skinner a better role, won twice, and then sat him.
Like I said, it is maybe not quote unquote fair, but this is not a fair world. That's just a thing.
Yeah.
And we keep winning. We are, what's our record right now? 32 and something.
A lot of wins.
We're third place in the league. We are first place in the division. And we're going to sit here and get all upset about the way our fucking coaches putting together a lineup. When we keep winning. This is exactly what we wanted for 43 years, 30 something, 20 something, and a couple less than that. Or maybe a little more.
I'm the youngest.
But we preface,
you know what I'm saying though? Like we've
no. So then what are we going to talk about here for an hour?
It's that we're winning. We're winning. We're successful. We're playing successful hockey right now, and we're nitpicking. We know that. And this.
But I think we're taking our nitpicking too far. We start saying this person's horrible. That person's terrible. This is stupid.
Who have power play that anyone's horrible?
We just said the power play was terrible.
But I know we're getting that. But you know what I'm trying to say here is like this team is very fucking good, and I just don't feel like we're giving them the credit for that. We're first place in the damn division. And we started off this year not so well. And I said, 100% chance we get back to the first place. Y'all were 60, 70, which I was a little more expressed about. But we're in first place.
Yeah. Going to win the division. Seal it up on April 1st in Vegas, which reminds me the Nation Vacation is still selling over at nationgear.ca. We leave on March 30th. We watched the game on April 1st. We are back on the 2nd. It's going to be a great trip. Shout out to our friends at Flair Airlines and Circa Stadium Swim. If you buy into the trip, you get your flights to and from Edmonton. You get 3 nights at Circa with full access to Stadium Swim as well. And at the Edmonton Vegas game, we're going to be sitting in the Stella Artois Lounge, which comes with beer, wine, and food, all included in the package.
What kind of temperatures we got in Vegas around that time of year? Like,
It's about mid-20s.
I was just going to say
pool weather. For
they are
Canadians.
Canadian pool weather. And for most people that do visit the strip, most of the other pools aren't open at that time. So Circa is a special one.
Yeah, it's legit. Go to nationgear.ca to get in on the Nation vacation.
We're there on the weekend too, right?
Pardon?
Are we on the weekend?
We get there Sunday, come back Wednesday.
Oh, so during you're going to watch, I think the tournament will be on too then.
NCAA.
From the pool. A bunch of them on the television.
They will have every game on that big screen. It'll be electric. Okay. Also, one other thing for our friends over at Oodle Noodle and their dynamic duo, Bombay butter chicken and a green onion cake for $17.95. In-store only, runs January 8th to March 25th. A game day key is sitting down with your feet up, an ice cold Nation beer, and a hot box of Oodle Noodle. A couple of things from around the NHL I wanted to throw your guys' way. Logan Thompson gets a 6-year extension with the Washington Capitals, a $5.85 million AAV. Liam wrote a piece over at Oilers Nation looking into this. I want to ask you guys, Dan, I'll start with you. If the Oilers announced right now that they signed Stuart Skinner to that exact same extension, your reaction would be?
I'm pretty happy because the economist in me knows that the salary cap is going up. And so that's a percentage of your salary cap that's going to continue to get smaller. And I think that we need to lock him up right now before the Stanley Cup run that is coming.
6 by 5.85. Rick, would you be happy or not with it?
Yeah, I'll take that right now. Same a lot along the same lines as Dan here. The cap's going up. It's going to be a great price contract. When this team plays better in front of them, Stu plays better. When they give up stupid plays, those sometimes go in the net, and it looks bad on Stu. But there's 1, 2, 3 mistakes ahead of it. When they're solid and they're playing well, he's much better. I think you'll see that.
I'd be really curious if Stuart Skinner himself would accept it. I think on one hand,
I'm not sure about.
The deal would kick in for, I think, his 27, 28-year-old season, whatever it would be, is sitting there and giving a guy almost $36 million USD guaranteed. That'll run him to 33 years old to a point where you can still get another contract. Like, you can go to Stuart Skinner and say, playing in your hometown, chance to win multiple Stanley Cups as a workhorse 1A. You'll be a free agent again at 33 and probably get another 5-6 year deal if this thing goes well. And you'd probably get paid a lot more then. Also, what other market allows you to get a California closets ad deal? Only Edmonton.
Well,
If he's here for 6 years on contract,
California team.
I bet you get a couple more deals.
Yeah. I do think maybe Skinner would even look and be like, maybe give me a 5-year deal. I can be a free agent at 32 and my next deal could be better. But like,
5, that's fine.
I'd be very curious if Stuart Skinner would accept that right now. But the idea of giving a guy guaranteed money, USD, to keep playing in Edmonton where you're from. We know he's got the family roots. Congrats to him and his wife on the birth of their second boy,
Darcy Skinner. That is confirmed.
Okay.
Speculation.
Liam, I'll take this a different direction to you. If it's a 6-year deal on the table, what's the highest you think the Oilers can go on the AAV when you compare? Because you compared it to other contracts.
Yeah, so I think he's going to sell. Looking back from when Skinner signed his deal to today, there's been 14 goaltenders who are starters in the NHL that have signed deals. The top one is obviously Igor Shesterkin. The lowest one was who was $11.5 million that kicks in next year. The lowest one was Gustafsson on Minnesota, who I think is around 3.75. I think Skinner's going to fall between Logan Thompson, like we just said, is 5.85, and Jussi Saros, who is 7.74. There has been no one who signed that $6 million deal besides John Gibson in recent memory. So I think he'll fall between there. So I think the highest he'll go, if the Oilers win the Stanley Cup and Skinner is like solid, consistent in there, I think it could touch $7 million. I think the lowest we're looking at is probably 6.25, 6.5 would be my guess.
6.25.
I think he deserves it.
I'm so happy with any of that. And I know people are going to be like, you're paying a mediocre goalie all that money.
No, you're not. Every starting goalie in the NHL gets paid around $6 million.
Yeah.
Everyone who's good. So here's the other stat. Stats are facts and stacks are right. There's Stuart Skinner, since he signed that deal, so at the start of last season, has started 90 games, played in 92.
Yeah.
There is only one goaltender in the NHL who has played more games than him and has a better save percentage and goals against average? Any guesses?
Gorgiev.
Hellebuck.
Connor Hellebuck.
Ding, ding,
Is-
ding.
Stuart Skinner, Connor Hellebuck.
No, he's Stuart
Yes. No, he's not.
So-
but he's a good goalie, and
He-
they need to sign him. And $6 million is basically the new $4 million.
It's going to be.
Essentially, with all these contracts, like, it means almost nothing in a couple of years. It will. It'll.
I
be
agree- I agree with you.
know, like it really. It's kind of crazy to say. Like,
Do you
$2
think
million,
that? Do you think the GMs have a bit of an insight on how much the cap's going to go up this year and the next year?
it's supposed to go up $9 million this? Oh, and
I thought
next
it was
year.
like 11 this one.
Nah, from 88 to 97, 9 mil.
Oh, mine. Okay, yeah.
So here's another thing too. First off, Logan Thompson has 130 career NHL games in the regular season, only 4 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. He's 2-2 in those games with the 921. He's going to turn 28 years old a month from basically today. February 25th is going to be when he turns 28. Stuart Skinner is 26, won't even turn 27 till next November. Like, he is 18, 19, 20 months older or younger, than Logan Thompson. He has already played in 156 career regular season games. And on top of that, he's played in 35 playoff games. He's played in over 190 games. Logan Thompson's played in 134. And we had someone comment today on Owen Everyday that, well, the lows for Stuart Skinner are way worse than the lows of a Logan Thompson. And
Recency bias.
Not
so
true.
we went and did the math from last season. A bad goalie start, we said, was 5 or more goals against. That's when you didn't even give your team a shot to win. Logan Thompson allowed 5 or more goals in 11.9% of his starts. Stuart Skinner was 12.2.
It's recency
3%.
bias. That's what
Well,
what he's done lately is not exactly who he is, right? He's definitely playing a little out of his mind recently. Good for him. But when you look at his whole career, as you just did, it's not what he is today. It's more of along the lines of what you have us do.
I was saying this on Oilers Nation Radio on Saturday, of course, because we
After
After Dark, yeah. Because we always talk about Skinner every single time. There's always a troll in the comments that gets to talk about Skinner. And I really do just think that if you were mad at Stuart Skinner for the give us a save kind of mentality, you just watch too many Oilers games. You don't watch enough of the rest of the league. And I get that I'm gifted, or like that we're gifted to be able to watch other games from around the league, but just go out and read the other fans and talking about their goalies. Everybody talks about their goalie just like we do about Stuart Skinner. And it's just that you don't understand the grass.
It's
not
different
green
shades of
everywhere.
gray
Yeah.
everywhere. And
So-
I do one goal that really stands out to me. The one against Colorado where McKinnon walked in and ripped it under Skinner's glove. And everyone's like, need a
That
save.
Yeah.
If Draisaitl did that to anybody, we'd be like, whew, damn, that's our 60 goal score. How about that shot?
We forget sometimes the other guy's getting paid too, and sometimes the other guys have some talent.
And the other penalty
Oilers
kills,
just-
right, Liam?
The Oilers just lit up Thatcher Demko.
Yep.
Thatcher Demko
ab-
sucks right now.
Absolutely dominated him. Like, they beat Mackenzie Blackwood the other day.
Yep.
Who's been doing really
And
well.
he
in
gave up a
Colorado.
goal on the ice from the blue line.
It's nuts.
And everyone was like, bad bounce.
They've beaten UC Soros 3 times this year. And I know Nashville's bad, but like, it is nuts. Just like, sometimes you got to just go look at the other box scores and just look at, you don't even have to watch the game fully. Like, save percentage will give you an idea. And I hate the save percentage app, but like, sometimes just good goalies get lit up. You know why? Because it happens.
We need newspapers back so people can go flip through the newspaper and look at the box scores like you and I did when we were kids, because that's all that you had to do
Rick,
was read
they
when
can-
you were eating cereal.
They can do that on the internet.
That's different. It's different. You have too many other things there. It takes your attention away. You had the newspaper, you had a bowl of cereal, you had to get through the sports section to the comics by the time you were done. You went through, you saw that thing every damn day.
The best thing being on the East Coast, and again, I'll date myself here, is when the newspapers would hit their cutoff time and I would have to wait another day to get the Oilers box score from the night before because the time.
Yeah, we're printing it. They're going into the third. Well, we got to do.
Yeah, like they were down 2-1 going to the
I don't know what happened in the game.
That is good. I remember when I was in like whatever the early grades were, and you had to do like assigned reading every night. It was like your parent had to sign off that you read for 20 minutes. And I put for like all of them, Edmonton Journal Sports, Edmonton Journal Sports, Edmonton Journal Sports. And my parents signed off on it. They didn't care. I was reading.
Yes.
And I remember one of my teachers was like, this isn't, you got to read books. And I was like, no, I don't.
No, what the hell do I have to read books for? Do you have different kind of words over there?
How did it work out for you, teacher?
Yeah.
Look where Tyler is now.
A couple more things I want to get to here with everyone. We're going to do some betting talk in a little bit as well. Alex Pietrangelo bowing out of the Four Nations Faceoff. It's 4 teams, Liam.
Facing off.
It's four.
And
Four
then
nations.
play
Four
24
nations.
minutes in his next game. Like
Yeah.
See,
2 minutes.
What's the reason for his?
he has to get a back alignment.
Oh, really?
I'm sure
He has to go to the chiropractor that day.
Yeah.
Oh no,
that's what they said.
is that legitimate?
Said he had an ailment. The NHL is saying they're not doing.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Ailment, not a line.
I think he said he just.
Oh, you're being serious? You thought it was an alignment?
I just got past it and Mark Stone's
He's getting. He wants to be like ready for the playoffs. He's getting his body.
Oh, like,
Back alignment.
hey, that happens. What can you do? I actually don't.
Why
think
is this league getting its entire conference realigned? I don't understand.
I don't even think it's that bad what he's done. I really don't. I think Alex Pietrangelo.
Whose tournament is this? Is it the NHL tournament?
Yeah.
So then they're going to sit there and act that like we need you guys to come out and do your thing, and it's kind of like the All-Star game and whatnot. But then they put it into the Four Nations, which I think kind of takes it away from the All-Star game aspect of it.
Will he be
It's
punished?
tough.
So my only thing is
he won't.
No, they already said no.
Yeah, they said they're not going to do that. If a player wants to skip, they can
Cowards.
skip. My only thing is, again, this is happening in our division, so I think this example applies. If I'm Stan Bowman, I'm sitting here going, okay, so Vegas is 30-some-year-old shutdown defenseman is going to take the 2 weeks off and rest. I'm kind of looking at Matthias Ekholm and being like, you do want to play, right? You 100% you want to play? Because like, why do they get the rest and my guy has to go play,
It
right?
could be like John Klingberg can go now. He's going to play NHL games. He's available.
The Senators with Linus Ullmark, he has not been able to stay healthy all year, and there's some talk that the Sens might go to him and be like, hey, we're cool with you going, but you're the third goalie. Go, wear the sweater, do everything, back up for a game. But you need to tell Team Sweden you're not playing. And I do wonder, like, as much as all the insiders and stuff are saying the right things right now, and it's like, no, players are committed, they want to go. I think there's going to be a few guys, and I know it's a soft tryout for the Olympics. So like some younger guys, like Seth Jarvis said today, he's like, I'll play right D if they need me to. He just wants, there are guys who just want to prove themselves for the Olympics. Get it. Alex Pietrangelo, if he's still Alex Pietrangelo a year from now, they are putting him on the Olympic team. I think there's some guys that don't care.
Yeah, but Pietrangelo is a little bit different. I think he has an Olympic gold. He's got a Stanley Cup ring.
Well, juniors.
He's won it all, right?
But except
So
he hasn't won the Four Nations Faceoff. Hold on.
I think it's like a candy pop ring.
You know what? Actually, was he on the World Cup team?
Probably.
I wonder if he was to go, which he's obviously not, and then win. I wonder if he would be the first player. The only. I wonder if he is. I'd have to look. I mean, I can do that. Oh, no,
all I know,
Sean probably is one.
All I know is I'm looking at a couple of the guys who might feel a little scorn on the Edmonton Oilers and going, boys, don't give him a second chance here. Let's get that back alignment, whatever you need to get ready for the playoffs. I mean, come on now.
Alignments for everybody.
For everybody. We'll get them done. We'll get a whole bunch of beds put on the ice during the 2 weeks it's closed, and we want to take care of them. But yeah, no, I'm looking at those guys going, hey guys, like, we want the Stanley Cup ring.
Yeah.
You guys, this is the Olympics or next year. This is not the Olympics. If it was the Olympics, I'm probably fine. You guys do what you want. This ain't the Olympics. This is.
And I'm probably more upset about Pietrangelo bowing out at the Olympics because I'm like, oh man, I really want Canada to win that. There is actually a part of me, I will be rooting for Canada when I go, although I will be impartial media covering the tournament for dailyfaceoff.com. There's a part of me that's like the storyline of the USA winning back-to-back World Juniors and the Four Nations leading into the Olympics. It's kind of a storyline I kind of want to see play out because then it'll be that much sweeter when Canada beats them for the Olympics.
I think that they're a team made up of such individual players that they're
half brothers. All of them are brothers. What do you mean?
They're not going to be able to. I don't think they can come together and play as a team.
Did forget one player that is also part of the Triple Gold Club and could win. Was part of the World Cup team. Sidney Crosby.
He's gone.
Yeah, he'll be there.
Yeah. No one here is really thinking Evan Bouchard deserves a spot, right?
No, Mackenzie Weegar should go.
I think Drew Doughty should go.
No, but Drew Doughty doesn't play the game. I think it needs to be part of it. And I understand Drew Doughty's an amazing player, but Mackenzie Weegar is playing amazing hockey this season on a Calgary team that should be last.
My counterpoint, and it was similar to why I wanted Marc-Andre Fleury to be the third goalie. It's a 4-game tournament. You are probably not going to use your 7th defenseman or third goalie. Vibes guy. Drew Doughty's going to keep it loose in the room. He's going to get it. I think camaraderie is going to have a lot of value which is why I would have had Fleury on the team and why I'd have Doughty on the team.
I would have had Fleury for sure.
You could have Uyghur just as a PK guy. Like, hey, go block 10 shots a game for me, and then you can just sit here on the bench. I just need you on the penalty kill. Block everything.
You have a taxi squad at all for this?
No. I think it's just the extra
4 games.
sports.
Yeah, an injury.
And it's 4 nations.
Facing
Ooh.
off. Only 4 games. So is it not a semi-final? Like,
No.
is it like round robin top 2 final?
Yeah.
It's like a Memorial Cup, right?
That is late.
Somewhat, yeah. Mem Cup has a semi.
Play all 3, then
There's 5 teams at the Memorial Cup.
No.
No, there's
No,
four.
there's 4.
Three leagues in the
Five
host.
team-
Three
four
Three leagues in the
host.
3 leagues in the host. 3 league winners in the host.
And if they're not getting it back, what?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's it. The
Then
fourth
1 versus
team,
4, 2.
the 4th team doesn't make the semis.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first place team gets a bye to the final.
Correct.
Unless there's a tiebreak.
That's how the
Yes.
Mem Cup works.
That's what I'm talking
Yes.
about. Yeah.
yeah. 4 nations face off is
Should be a
where's
page playoff system.
Play all 3.
So yeah, Wednesday, Feb 12, Canada, Sweden. Thursday, USA, Finland. Friday, naturally, Liam, no games.
Of course.
They were sitting in the office back last February or something like that, and like, hey, what do we do Friday? This is
Day
really
off.
good. This is gonna piss Liam off. Let's go no games.
So the reason they're doing it is because they want the Finland-Sweden game to be on prime time.
Okay.
So they put it Saturday at 11 a.m. so that it's prime time
For them.
for
They're
Sweden,
home.
Finland.
And that's fine.
Yeah. So actually, it does set up for an electric
So
Saturday because
He
it's
just wants to get
I know.
so angry.
it's Finland, Sweden at 11, and then Canada, USA at 6, which will be kind of a cool day.
Yeah, I'll let them off on that one because that does make a lot of sense.
And then,
Still,
so after that Saturday, they'll then fly to Boston. Monday, February 17th. So nothing on Sunday because that's the travel day. Monday will be the final round robin games: Canada, Finland, Sweden, USA, and then the final is on Thursday. So
travel
again,
to
why did they do? And so it's 2 days off leading up to the final.
So you play
When's
the
the
3
championship game?
teams,
Yeah.
and then you just take the.
Top 2 go to the final.
Why are we doing this in Montreal and Boston?
Should have picked one host city. I agree with that.
One.
Edmonton. 'cause
And why are we doing,
Or
even though
Dakota.
everyone's already in Boston, why are we giving 2 days off?
Should do the championship game in LA.
when's the championship game?
Thursday.
Spread around the
So
country.
you're not really working around any other sports. Yeah, I don't know why they would have went there.
Because they're dumb.
When are you starting the league
Instead
again?
of that.
The Oilers start on
The 22nd.
It's got to be something that the PA.
So that
did or
game's on the
something.
20th, which again is so Connor McDavid in all likelihood will have to play in the championship game on the 20th and then fly. Oh my God, this is so shitty for the Oilers who are in the tournament, or at least, yeah, the Oilers that are in the tournament. Because on the 20th, you're going to have to play in the 4 Nations Faceoff final. And then the team is on the road Saturday against Philly. And they have a 4-game road trip that goes Philly, Washington,
The 3-minute
Tampa,
flight.
Tampa, Florida, Carolina, 5-game road trip. They are not back on home ice until March 4th. Connor McDavid will be leaving for the 4 Nations Faceoff on the 9th, Sunday the 9th.
Yeah, he'll be okay.
Peace out.
Still, that's crazy to ask those guys to be on the road for a month with no time off. Interesting.
But not surprising.
One other thing we said, no one's expecting Evan Bouchard. There was an interesting report that came out today from Andy Strickland.
Yes. Do it right now.
He thinks the Oilers are the team to sign Mikko Rantanen
He
in the
was-
summer.
He like doubled down. Like he got a lot of bass in his voice to say this too.
I said this on ONE. It's very funny how if you go watch the clip, he goes like after making his co-host guess for like 45 seconds, he goes, the Edmonton Oilers. His co-host goes, how would they make it work? And Andy Strickland goes, I don't know.
What?
He goes, don't ask me that.
So he just straight up thinks we're going super team.
Yeah, he does. He mentioned that that Draisaitl and Rantanen have the same agent. Liam and I did some math today. We'll save everyone that whole exercise again. There is a way if you were to like trade Arvidsson, trade Kane, you could make it work. Even if you only traded one of those guys, you could almost make
Kane
it
and
work.
Skinner going away is like $9 million right there.
You know what I love
Yes,
the idea.
but
Ish.
you need
And that's
to
going enough.
no. But you need to remove money that's actually on the cap next season. Like Skinner's off the cap.
Oh, well, sorry. Well, Kane's on the cap for next year.
Kane and Arvidsson are both on the cap for
Fair.
just over $9 million.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because if you can get rid of those two and the cap goes up the $9 million, you'd be sitting at that point at about $29 million in cap space. And you have to sign like 5 forwards, Bouchard and Emberson. So like it is, you can kind of see how it's doable if it's like, okay, Savoy and Philp are here at league minimum and get a couple more guys at league minimum up front and, piece things together. But I would say there is a 0.5% chance that this happens because I think he's going back to Carolina.
We're removed from 3 off seasons of needing winger help. And we're like, oh, we're going to sign one winger. And then we're going to sign.
This isn't that's the weird thing. That's the weird thing. Like I would assume that they come from like something in the oil blogosphere or whatever. Yeah. This is like straight up on the outside, and they're talking about
that's a Blues insider.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, Andy Strickland was also tweeting how Rantanen was so shocked by the decision. He was one of the guys I was pointing out there too. So he clearly has some kind of connection to this. I don't know how.
So he just knows that Rantanen really fucking hates the Avalanche now and wants to come and stick it to them.
And doesn't want to stay in Carolina either.
Greg Wyshynski.
Oh,
he spoke to Rantanen. He said, I asked Mikko Rantanen if the Canes being the only team that can offer him an 8-year deal on his next contract is a big factor in his free agent's decision. The first half is the only meaningful part, I guess. He said, I guess, yeah, I would say so, but only 1 year. It's hard to tell. It's been so quick. It's been so quick here with the transition. It's only been 4 days. I've got to be honest. I haven't had any chance to think about an extension, just trying to get into the group and playing well. So I think we'll have to think about those situations in a couple of weeks or so. So essentially saying he hates it there and would love to leave whenever he can.
That's exactly what I heard. He did say though that he was given like the Avalanche a big discount.
He said that.
And I don't know exactly what he derived at that. Questions. But to me, that's the rumors was he wanted 14-ish and whatever that. I don't know if that's real or not, but a big discount. Does that not take you back to 11 to 12-ish? Like where does that take you back to?
I was kind of thinking about this too. Like if you approach Rantanen, it's all hypothetical, but it's probably going to happen. And you can like shave him even $1.5 million off and get him, assuming the 14 is the target he wants. Give him the 12.5, the McDavid contract right now. Like I feel like that would be a good way to negotiate with it. I know he's coming from Colorado, but I feel like the Oilers I know the Oilers are set up better to win a Stanley Cup a couple of times over the next 5 years, more than Colorado will.
I think the issue then you'd get into is, let's say Carolina saying, hey, we're going to give you 13 by 8. He's sitting there going, that is $104 million. If you're the Oilers and you're saying we'll give you we'll give you 12. So take $1 million off. We can only give you 7 years. Now you're at 84 million. You're losing out. Like that's a $20 million gap. Carolina has his best buddy, Sebastian Aho.
Allegedly. What's his relationship like with Yari Curry?
That's a great question. I have no idea.
Didn't think about that connection. But like, right, they have this group of Finns there, Kotkaniemi and Aho. Like, I think he's going to be a Carolina Hurricane for life.
They couldn't sign their guy last year. They went and did.
That is interesting.
They didn't sign Gensel.
But there is kind of a general thinking around the NHL that Carolina knows they fucked that up. They played their cards a little bit too hard, which I actually think is what happened here with Rantanen. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if there's a little bit of like, did his agent maybe play this too hard? Like, did Rantanen go to his agent and be like, hey, I'll sign for like Nate's money. Like, I'd love more, but like, I'll sign for Nate's money. And the agent was like, I'm going to play hardball because they want you at 12. I'm going to tell them you're not signing for less than 14. And then he woke up one day and got traded.
Why not to think the GM got a little nervous and pulled the trigger a little quicker than he needed to? If you're going to look at one, you got to look at the other.
Yeah,
right? All I see is people want to like pump this guy's tires up.
Because I think but
they did that with Dubas, and where's Dubas now?
Yeah, I just think if you're the GM and it's that, and you got nervous and scared, why wouldn't you, before you pull the trigger on this deal, call Rantanen's agent and be like, hey, I have an offer on the table that I think I need to take. I will turn it down if you sign an 8x12 right now. And then you call Rantanen, who's apparently all upset. Like, this just feels like a massive miscommunication, because if Rantanen's upset, saying you want to take a discount, Bednar's crying, McKinnon's crying, everyone in Colorado's crying. It's like, could this maybe not have been fixed with a phone call?
It's pretty crazy to me to think, if you flip it onto the Oilers lens, that they didn't talk to McDavid or Draisaitl about getting rid of one or the other of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how Nate had no idea.
It's a direct comparison.
Yes.
Rantanen and McKinnon were the closest thing in the NHL to McDavid and Draisaitl.
And they didn't check with the other guy.
And now if that was Edmonton, people would be furious at the GM for not talking to the other dude.
Oh,
furious.
my goodness. I can't even imagine. Imagine the debate we would have.
They'd be packing the other guy up.
We'd
You
all
can go on your own, sir.
page.
You can go on your own.
They parked a sign outside of the Oilers office to get rid of Kevin Lowe because he didn't sign Ryan Smith.
They rented a trailer. That thing was not cheap. Someone had to pay for it.
Well, here's a crazy angle that no one's talking about. The highest paid player on the Carolina Hurricanes only pays $9.75 million.
I would hope they're not dumb enough to be doing the internal cap.
Are they going to pay him more than Sebastiano?
That would be like, imagine if the Oilers let Draisaitl walk because they were like, you can't make a penny more than McDavid. Like, that's insane.
But yeah, I agree with you.
so
But there's a little bit different because Nate just signed his. Now Connor was like near the end of
If
it.
you were to ask Nate, do you think he gives a shit?
Nope.
So it's a front office being jealous.
I think Nathan McKinnon does care about that.
No.
I think Nathan McKinnon is the guy that, and now I don't know if he would have ticky-tacked about Rantanen versus somebody else,
Mhm.
but I do think he cares about the money value on his team
Who's his
because
best
he knows how
friend?
to win. Who's his best
Sidney
friend?
Crosby.
And what does Sidney Crosby sign for like the last 30,000 years?
$7 million.
$8.7 million.
But he's also tips everything
I was gonna
$8.70.
He's also
I love
like
tipping. I hate
crazy.
tipping.
He
I
rounds up to
love tipping.
87 cents on everything. He's a psychopath.
Yeah,
Good.
that is a little crazy.
Good. I like that.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure Rantanen's coming to Edmonton.
All right.
That's crazy to me that Strickland would just say that out of pocket.
See, I
He
think the
kind of
NHL
likes to just throw shit out there.
Yeah,
I do
stirs it in.
think
Well,
the
I think-
NHL is going to try and go to that format.
It has to.
I
It
super
naturally
teams.
will happen. It will naturally happen, but I don't
If the
think
cap
Edmonton
goes
is the spot.
But could you imagine? Cap goes up 20 million or around there in the next 2 years.
But then, but when the cap goes up, so will the individual. Because there's a cap on how much a player can make in terms of the cap.
Yeah,
the
but that
team's
max
cap, right?
is
It's
like 20%.
Yeah, so if you, but there's going to be players out there who want that full 20 or closer to 20, but if they go sign the super team, they can't get there. Therefore, they'll take the money somewhere else.
I just think a super team gets created out of thin air. I don't think it comes into a structure
pretty thin
where
air.
a team has already created.
Golden
A
State
base.
it'd be a very Golden State would almost line up perfectly with this example, right? They
Yeah,
drafted Curry,
yeah.
drafted Draymond, drafted Clay, and then Kevin Durant just showed up to help him beat LeBron.
Can I throw
Yeah.
the craziest scenario at you that won't happen? But could you imagine?
Could you imagine?
What if Rantanen just signs like a 1 year deal? And then he like just walks into free agency. You already have McDavid signed. You're like, hey, like come play 1 more year with us. We'll give him 12 million. I don't know, whatever it may be. Play 1 year. You know he's gonna get it again. He's
What if
gonna
he
be,
blows out his knee?
I told
John Klingberg did this and he lost out on like 50 million.
Get that angle, and I think it's the least likely of all of this happen. I don't
Yes.
think it's signing 1 year, but like if there's a team to go to and you're that high of a caliber of player, it's not insane. It's very, very unlikely. It's more unlikely that happens, and he signs in Edmonton in general. But like, it isn't crazy.
Is there a
It's crazy.
possibility
It's
the
not
cap goes
crazy.
up $18 million in 2 years?
Yes.
9 and 9.
Maybe,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
Why not? Depends
At that
how much
point-
of a hit the four
At that
nations
point,
facing off
at
is.
that point, the Edmonton Oilers have the opportunity to add a player like that.
And
Yeah.
I would argue that Liam's scenario does lend a tan more towards the super team angle as
Yes.
well, because then you're starting to see guys start to take smaller and smaller contracts, positioning themselves to jump into an
Yeah.
opportunity. Oh, knock down one getting off the board with my head.
Remember just the cap jumping up? I want it because I love seeing how dumb GMs can be. Remember when they gave everyone a compliance buyout and every GM just immediately went and spent the money on a new free agent? It was like, you gave them a get out of jail free card for a bad free agent. And basically 30 of the 30 GMs are like, yeah, we should go spend this money on free
Thanks
agency.
for getting us out of that money, but look at all this money we
Yeah.
can spend now.
Okay, last thing I want to get to for our friends at Bet365, download the app today. Use the promo code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. I had said that when Connor McDavid got suspended, I made the prediction that Leon Draisaitl would be Draisaitl versus the Field for the Hart Trophy. He would be even money or better to win the Hart. It got close. He ended up going from about plus 350 to plus 170. So we are getting to the point where it's almost Draisaitl versus the Field here. But I wanted to ask you guys about a different individual award, the Art Ross. Right now, Nathan McKinnon is the minus 130 favorite to win the award. He leads the NHL in points with 77. Leon Draisaitl is second with 75 with 1 game in hand. Connor McDavid is down with 76. So he's 11 points back of Nathan McKinnon with a game in hand. He is also 9 points back of his running mate, Leon Draisaitl. What percent chance do you give Connor McDavid of still winning the Art Ross trophy? You tell me, then I'll tell you the percent chance that the books are giving him.
5%. I just think there's other stories around the league that would push guys ahead.
I'll give him like a 20 because we know Connor goes supernova in the back half here, and that'd be right now, especially after his suspension and the Four Nations and whatever. It's not, I'll go with 20.
I'll go 25% because you went 20, and I think that bettors love McDavid, and Vegas, quote unquote, loves Vegas too.
So plus 450 are his odds, which is implied an implied percentage of 18.18%. So you guys are pretty close.
Pretty good.
I don't hate it, only from the perspective of I'd be tempted to bet on it to get a cash out in like 2 months or like 6 weeks.
When he's
like, he'll go
part of the game.
He'll go supernova, bring it to within 5 points. Everyone will be like, Connor can do it. Connor can do it. Big public push, cash it out.
Rantanen playing with McKinnon?
Oh yeah, basically exclusively.
Yeah, but like
center a few times.
Natures is so good at getting the assists. I think you'll see a little bump in McKinnon's numbers right now.
Interesting.
Do you think they put too many players on this hot ballot? Another ballot, just on like Bet365.
I think they.
No one's betting on Nazem Kadri to win the Hart.
Like, I'm just looking here.
I
Clayton
believe
Keller is 40,000.
Yeah, but someone like drops like $20. I'm like, nah, just in case.
That's
You get 10 guys doing that.
I think at the start of the year, that makes a lot of sense for people too. Like, you kind of get to a point, it's like, you could probably just cut this down to like 5.
But where's the fun in that?
Yeah, but Hughes.
You don't think Elias Pettersson's going to win the Hart Trophy this year?
Which one?
Decent point.
Thank you.
Is Elias Pettersson on this list?
Yep.
I think you get both of them if you pick him.
I hope I get both of
That
them.
would be interesting.
What would Connor Bedard have to do this year to win the Hart?
They could not lose a game there.
The rest of the league would have to have some plane crashes.
Well, no, 88.
They just go, the Hawks just go undefeated the rest of the year. Bedard has like 80 goals. It's like, whoa.
I think 88 was the last time a player won the Hart without making the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so.
Lemieux.
Mario? Yeah.
All right. Next up for the Oilers, Thursday, Todd McClellan's back in town as they take on the Detroit Red Wings in a Saturday affair against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then the Oilers will head out on the road for a quick one. What, Rick?
Chicago, St. Louis,
Thursday first.
Colorado.
Thursday, Detroit, Saturday, Toronto.
Correct. Yeah.
Back-to-backs on the road, Chicago, St. Louis.
And then it's Colorado.
And then Four Nations.
Facing off.
When's Big John Stud get in lineup?
Who?
John Klingberg.
Oh.
Saturday, revenge game against the Leafs.
What
Give
a
him that
terrible
first one?
spot to put him in.
I think he goes Thursday.
You think he's ready to go that
I
quick?
said Thursday on our predictions.
Didn't they? Yeah, I thought they said last week that he was either.
He is
Today,
going
yesterday,
through
or
immigration stuff right now,
Yeah.
which as a fellow immigrant
hot button issue.
isn't always the easiest thing to deal with.
I think when you're a professional athlete, like in the NHL, it might be a little bit easier than
I don't
just
know.
for yourself.
As someone who's gone through the process as an unprofessional athlete.
All right, I guess there's only the one game. What do you guys want to see from them Thursday against Detroit? Detroit's been up and down. They got red hot under Todd McClellan, cooled right back off.
I just want to see them ultimately get a win, but do it in an impressive stance, kind of like they'd have, like just those last 40 minutes that they're so good at. Just play 3 versions of the second period.
That's fair. Dan, what do you want to see from them on Thursday?
Just keep coming out and not letting the other team beat you in that first period. I really just think that this team, when they get down, is frustrating. And yeah, I just want to see them not go down to Detroit early.
Fair enough. All right. A couple of days off for the Oil, then they're back in action on Thursday. We'll be back with a fresh episode of the pod on Friday, as we always are. Shout out to Odd Company, Nation Gear, the all-new Nation Vacation, and Oodle Noodle. We'll chat with you again on Friday, everybody. Enjoy the game on Thursday. What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.